YouTube fans, here again. And today I thought I'd talk about deleted scenes in movies. I've been meaning to do it for some time, so I figure why not before I get deleted. So I'm talking about films with scenes that was never shown on the movie, whether it's a director's cut, a work print, whatever. And these are deleted scenes. Now I do remember talking about For Your Eyes Only, classic Bond movie from 1981, starring Roger Moore, may rest. And there was two scenes that were deleted out of the film. If there's any other scenes, I don't know. But there were two deleted scenes. One was the Bond girl, right? There's a little bit it has the channel on it where the Bond girl sees Roger Moore as Bond, setting up one of the Bond girls, I should say. It would be Pierce Brosnan's later wife, may she rest. And them walking off in the casino and so on. But there was a bit where before Roger Moore goes underwater and he meets the Bond girl, after that, there's actually a deleted scene where he's talking to the Bond girl and she wants to know where he was. He went to see him in a motel. He wasn't there. Obviously, he was having hanky-panky with the Bond girl. And so on. And he says something about my personal life has nothing really to do with you, what I do in my personal life. Sad to say, that scene was deleted out. And it's a shame because I saw the deleted scene. I didn't think getting rid of it wasn't really needed. I thought it was quite interesting. You can see it, but I just didn't know why they deleted it. But it was the producer and it was the director's choice. There's another deleted scene where there's in a Steve soap scene. It's already in the film, but a little bit more in the film where the bad guys are fighting with Roger Moore and they're fighting him and he's on the ice rink. It's in the film, but there's actually a lot more in it where they're fighting with him. There's a lot more in it. He gets on a fan, which is in the film, but there's a lot more when he's in the fan and he drops ice and snow all over him. Then drives off. That is not in the film, and he's a well-known actor. You might remember playing the villain in The Golden Child. You do get a bit of his face in it. It's just the same, it was not in the film. It's the same, because I felt really deleted that bit out. But it is what it is. Now, the one what I would say is deleted scenes in films would be First Blood. Now, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of deleted scenes, and believe it or not, Sylvester Stallone did not like the film. He wanted to burn it, destroy it, buy every copy and erase it. And I don't know why, because I've seen it and I don't think it's really that finger. There's a bit in it where the sergeant is having a go at one of the lads. It's in the film, and there's a lot more where he's having a really good go at him. There's a bit where the wife of the dickhead who was shooting Sylvester Stallone, shooting at him, as to say, as Rambo, and Rambo falls that rock and he falls to his death. There's a bit in it where he has his wife in the film. She's crying. He tries to speak to the daughter. I'm assuming it's the daughter of the dad. And she walks off and he knows the sergeant and basically they blame him. Deleted out. There's a bit in it, like I say, where Sylvester Stallone is Rambo. He's having fast bats of him having to away with a Vietnamese prostitute. Bit of nudity. I don't even want to see nudity, I watch porn. So that bit, I can kind of understand that bit why it's deleted out. I do not want to see a Rambo, Italian stallion, adult film. If you don't know what I mean about that, just type in the Italian stallion, porn with Sylvester Stallone, and you'll definitely see what I mean. So, I can start to see why that was deleted out. There's a bit more where he's in the cave, he's in the sewer. Well, that would have been awesome to see a bit more of that. There's a bit in it where the sergeant is talking to the sheriff. There's a lot more of that. So there's definitely a lot deleted out of the film. It's sad to say, never got to see the day of light. And Blade Runner. I know they made so many versions of Blade Runner. So many versions. Well, the scene, if you remember the scene where the guy got shot and he says about choices, he's not dead in the original version. He's not dead, he's on a machine. And Harrison Ford, this Decker, goes and visits him and he presses this one button and the dad says, "That's pain, arsehole," and he hurts him by accident. There's a lot more of him where Harrison Ford, this Decker's visiting him in the hospital here and there. Now, whoever remembers a very raunchy set scene with Lawrence Lund and Harrison Ford, well, that was actually a lot more raunchier. A lot more nudes is there, a lot more of him touching her there, more of the legs, a lot more nakedness. So that was actually a lot more raunchier than what you see in the film itself. I do admit I can try to see why they deleted this scene now. There's a scene where Woodard Howard, remember, kills that guy, stabs his eyeballs out. Well, originally that wasn't even shown in the film. You've got shitty sound effects. You've got him in a lift crying his eyes out. Don't ask me why. And I can kind of understand why that was deleted out. And I think originally it showed him having his dinner. That's a little bit different. But that's about it. So I can't understand why that was deleted out. I thought that was a bit, nah. I want to talk about original endings. Why not? The original ending, there was a scene where Sylvester Stallone, and maybe a lot of people know this, in The First Blood, where Rambo makes the sergeant shoot him and he falls down dead. Now, if they would have done that, you would never have had First Blood Part 2 or any of the other Rambo films. So I'm kind of happy they didn't go that route. Or there are a lot of different endings of Blade Runner, believe it or not. Why not this one? Nightmare on Elm Street. A lot of deleted scenes in that, believe it or not. The original classic Elm Street. A lot of people may have heard about it now. But there was an original scene where Nancy's mum mentions Nancy having a brother. And he was killed, obviously, by Freddy Krueger. Thus, you don't see it in the film. There's a lot more where the father says, well, how did you know that that's going to happen? With the scene where the lad hangs himself. We all know it's Freddy what killed him. I felt they should have kept that in it because it made that interesting. How did she know? So I didn't think that was really needed to be deleted out. That's just my way of seeing it. And there's a lot more there in that trailod. There's a lot more deleted scenes. As we all know, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, had a lot of different endings. There was one scene where Freddy drives off, he's in the car, and you see him laughing. There's a bit where it had a happy ending, where the mother doesn't get dragged through the frigging door, and it just ends with him raving, and you got the kids singing that song, 6'5", Freddy's coming for you, and it ends. So it did have a lot of different endings on all one Nightmare on Elm Street, for people that never knew that. So that was kind of interesting. Then we go on to A View to a Kill. View to a Kill is an interesting one, which is a Bond film. There's a scene where you see a lot more Christopher walking, which I felt would have been interesting. And I cough. There's a bit more where you see the Bond girl in it. And you do see a lot more of the villains. But again, I could see where they were deleted out. They were there. So that one I can understand. So I felt there's sort of a bit more Christopher walking as the villain. But yeah, they're okay. I do remember there's a lot of deleted scenes in License to Kill. There's a dud scene in it where Bond's watching the villain and he's got a gun and he's watching him on TV. I felt that should have been kept. There's a bit where Bond has a funny hat on, which could see why it was deleted out. There's a lot of deleted scenes in License to Kill. And if anyone ever remembers any deleted scenes and they felt they should have kept them in the film, so it wasn't really needed to cut or delete or whatever, let me know. But I might talk about more deleted scenes in films as well as I go on. But until then, people, be smart, be safe, and I'll see you later.